Hey again, math class. So hopefully after the first 3 videos, you're starting to feel like, yes, I've totally got this. I can be a fraction adding machine. Now, of course, I'm going to try to give you something else that's a little more challenging, but you can totally do this too, and then you will still continue to be a fraction adding machine. What happens when we have 2 mixed numbers that we want to add together? You might encounter this a lot. And again, it's a good reason to have your problem be vertical instead of horizontal. It's kind of easier to see. I can draw a line right here because the way that I solve it is sort of by dealing with it in 2 columns. So like a fraction column and dealing with the whole number column, okay? So I always like to start with the fractions because I like to get my most challenging piece of the problem out of the way. So I have 1 1/4 plus 2 1/2. So I have 2 and 4. I'm going to come down here and write out my multiples. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, right? Dot, 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 forever. 4, my first one is 4. Look at that. That's excellent. So my common denominator is going to be 4, which is nice because that means that this guy, 4 times 1 gets me to 4. So I don't really have to do anything to that problem. That 1/4 just moves straight over. Awesome. That makes it a lot easier. A lot less math to do, right? 2 times what got me to 4? Well, times 2, right? So now I multiply the top number by 2, and so I get 2/4. Okay? So now I'm going to add my fractions and add my whole numbers. Sorry. So 1 plus 2 is 3. My bottom number stays the same. 2 plus 1 is 3. Ta-da! That's it. That's all I got to do. I know that I can't reduce this down, right? Question 1, it's a proper fraction. 3 is smaller than 4. And then I can skip to question 2. I can't reduce this down because this is one of those situations where the numbers are right next to each other when you're counting. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, they come together. So the only factor that they'll have in common is 1. There's nothing I have to reduce down. Let's look at another example of this just to make sure that it's clear. Okay, this is 3 1/2 plus 9 3/4. And interestingly enough, I gave you a problem here with the same 2 bottom numbers. So we know that the common denominator is going to be 4 because that was the same as the last problem. So that means that this guy is just times 1. I can move that 3 straight over. 2 times 2 gave me 4, so 2 times 1 gives me 2. And I want to add my top numbers. 2 plus 3 is 5. My bottom number stays the same. And then I add my whole numbers over here in like their separate little column, right? 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so now I have solved my problem. I've done the addition, right? I have to ask myself those 2 questions again. So again, these 2 questions that I'm referring to are on that really bright yellow sheet that I gave to you. I tried to, as I said in the last video, I think I said that I tried to make it on as bright a piece of paper as possible so that you can always find it. That's how important these 2 questions are to always ask yourself. Okay, so question 1, is this a proper fraction? Ugh, it's not, right? Look at that. That 5 is larger than the 4 on the bottom, so that makes it an improper fraction. So we're going to come over here and figure out what 5/4 equals. Okay, and I do that by dividing the top number into dividing the bottom number into the top number. I said it wrong. Sorry about that. So again, you might have to sort of refer back to your notes or some of the work that we did in class if you're having trouble remembering this. So 4 and 5 really close together. That means I can only go once. 4 can only go into 5 one time. I'm going to subtract. I have 1 left over. So this one up on top of the bracket, I'm going to rewrite this guy down here. 5/4, okay? This 1 up on top of the bracket, that's my whole number, right? The big number of my my new mixed number that I'm writing. My remainder, I'd usually go like that, right? And bring it up top, right? Remainder 1. But I don't do that in fractions. But I don't have to write the R. I mean, you don't have to do the R. But you do still have to bring this 1 up. He just becomes the top of your fraction. And then the bottom number, whatever that is, stays the same. So now we kind of have a problem, right? Because I've got 1 1/4, that's what this thing equals, and then I've got this 12 over here. So what I have to do is add this whole number, that 1, to the 12 that's over here. So 12 plus 1 is 13, and then I just write that 1/4 right next to it, and my answer turns out to be 13 1/4. My second question, so I asked myself the first question right here, right? Second question is this reduced down as far as it can go? And if you notice, we've got a 1 on top of our fraction. So usually when that happens, and like almost all the time, I can't think of a time when this didn't happen. If you've got a 1 on top, you're reduced down as far as you can go. Let's look at a third example, okay? Again, just to make sure that it's making sense and you're seeing all the steps kind of go together. 1 3/5 plus 5 1/2. So 5 and 2, those are different numbers. I got to find a common denominator. So I'm going to come over here and list out all the factors, or I lied, multiples of 2. 2 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 8, 10, 12, right? On and on and on. And now multiples of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. Oh, there it is right there. 10, right? Hopefully, you'll start to see when you've got two unlike denominators, you can hopefully start to look at those and say, oh, common denominator is 10, without having to do all of this work. Maybe even after all of these videos, you're kind of getting to that point, and that is so awesome if you are. That is the goal. I'll be perfectly honest. But sometimes, sometimes it takes a little bit longer to sort of see the process. I want to make sure everybody's got that, so that's why I'm still figuring out the least common multiple, or your common denominator. So now I figured out that it's 10. 5 times what gave me 10? Well, it was times 2. So 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times what gave me 10? It was times, I said it already. 2 times what gave me 10? It was 5. 5 times 1 is 5. And now I add my two separate columns, whole numbers and fractions. 6 plus 5 is 11. Bottom number stays the same. 5 plus 1 is 6. Okay? There is my answer. But again, I got to ask myself those two questions. Question 1, is it a proper fraction? Is it a proper fraction? No, that 11 is bigger than the 10. So that means I have to go over here again and say, okay, 11 over 10 equals, what does it equal? Bottom number divided into the top number. And again, these are really close together. It can only go in once. And I have 1 left over. So this whole thing, 11/10 equals, here is my whole number, the big number of my mixed number. My remainder becomes the top of my fraction. The bottom number stays the same. And I run into that same problem because this guy right here equals 1 1/10 all by himself. And I have this 6 over there. What do? Well, I add 6 plus 1. Let me get these guys out of the way so I have some more room. 6 plus 1 is 7. And the 1/10, I just bring it straight down. And again, I've got 1 on the top, so I don't have to reduce it. It's reduced down as far as it can go. My answer is 1 3/5 plus 5 1/2 equals 7 1/10. So again, we're going to practice this in class. We'll have lots of practice tomorrow, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it will go smoothly. And hopefully too, so the goal is like that maybe some of these steps, if you have a context to put them in, they'll make a whole lot more sense. So we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.